Oh, for those who would like to grid, there are 2 ways to do that. If you do not have a ruler, you can take, oh wait, here, hold on, let me spotlight myself so you can see. Almost, yep, perfect. So for those of you who don't have a grid, you can create one on your paper by folding it once, like that, twice, like that, in half, 3 times, like that, and 4 times, so that you have a little rectangle. And then when you open it up, your paper is divided sort of roughly into 16 equal triangles. And then your way of sort of solidifying that, here, I'm just taping this up, is to take any straight edge. Here's another piece of paper.
You're stepping on my paper.
Yeah. And you can redraw the lines, or a book or something, right? You just want to redraw these lines. If you're struggling to see them, you can refold it. That helps you see it better.
Sit here.
So anyway, you're going to redraw all these lines here. If you don't want your paper to be all foldy like this, which I think you probably get to a point where you do, you're going to need a ruler. So I'm going to show you how to create a grid. There you go. I'm going to show you how to create a grid using a ruler, using our source. I'm going to use a ruler and a marker on here because I want you to be able to see it. But for you, you can simply use a pencil and a ruler on your blank paper. So I'm taking, and this, by the way, is an A4 paper. So if you want this to work, you want to be using the same size paper. So it is an 8.5 by 11 inch paper, or if you're using,
that doesn't work.
But if you're using centimeters, it's 28 by 21.5 and a half, 21.5 centimeters. So if you have a paper that's bigger than this, you want to actually use your ruler to sketch out or you can use this, you know, if you don't have a ruler, you can use a tape measure, same thing. You're going to use this to sketch out 28 by 1.5 centimeters, and then you can do your grid. You're not going to do your grid. This won't work if you're using a 9. It kind of will work with a 9 by 12 inch paper, but the idea is it's either a 1-to-1 transmission, or this paper would be twice the size to have this work. It doesn't work if the proportions are different. So let's see, let me get back to it. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to find the halfway point of each. You're going to find the halfway point of each. Here, I'm going to mute just to keep things quiet. You're going to find the halfway point of each side. If you're using inches, this is, let's see, 8.5. 8.5, so that's 4.25 is the center. And then up here, you're also going to find the halfway point, so 4.25. See, so when I mark this, when I line up the ruler between the 2 points, and then I can draw the line. This is like fold number 1. Fold number 2 is finding the halfway point along this line. That's 11, so it's 5.5. Or 28, which means half of 28 is 14, depending on whether you're using centimeters, right? So there are your 2 lines here. Once again, I'm going to line up my ruler and I'm going to draw a line between them. So this is fold number 2. Folds number 3 and 4 work like this. I'm going to find the halfway point of each half. For in the inches category, for half of 4.25, it's really 2.2. Kind of a dumb measurement, but there you go. Or half of 21.5. I can't do that math in my head right now. All right, so I mark those, and then this is fold 3 when you draw these lines. So the grid helps you start to learn where things are. Now, I'm not going to use the grid. So for those of you who are following along without the grid, you can follow me in my drawing. For those who are using the grid, it's going to be helpful in helping you figure out where things are. Talk more about that in a second. Half of 5.5 is 2.75. 75. .75. All right, so there are your folds. Okay, so once again, we're going to be we're practicing with this concept of fur. And I think the problem that people have with fur is that they think that they're going to be, we do a lot of, here, I'll just sketch it on here. We do a lot of this thinking that, you know, we're going to capture this idea of fur. In truth, this does not capture the idea of fur. The best way to capture the idea of fur, using any implement, you know, paint or brush, is to pay attention, and I'm going to bring you up close here so you can really see it, is to pay attention where the light meets the dark edge. So right here, I'm going to take a colored pencil, see if I can get one that will show up here. Not really going to show up. Maybe I have a green one. So I am going to actually try and mimic some of the shape of this edge. Nope, that's not working either. Here, I see what will work. When I'm paying attention to details, so it's interesting. We want to get detailed, but in completely the wrong way. The way that will like make our drawings look kind of ridiculous. I'm going to draw just in a little area here. The area I'm really interested in getting the detail is where light meets dark. And when I'm looking for texture, so notice this is not a ... thing. This has kind of a random texture. I'm trying to draw it here. So when you're starting to, after we get our shapes in, your focus is going to be kind of trying to recreate the jagged edge you see. You'll use you'll use an eraser, you'll use a pencil, you know, you'll use a pencil to do that. And, you know, you can see the same thing happening over here. So really where you're focusing your energy to get detail in the right kind of detail is not everywhere. It's not in here. It's more where light meets dark. There's a couple of interesting, and since I'm here, I'm going to sketch out kind of the outer shapes that we're going to start by drawing. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to go to another color so we can really see this. We won't confuse this with our. So does everybody get that, what I'm saying about edges? When we're dealing with fur, there is a certain amount of detail we're going to need to get into. But here, hold on. We're going to start with where the dark areas meet the light areas. Oh, yes, and happy spring, everybody. All right, so I'm going to take a picture of this so you guys can see the simplified lines. It's spring.
If you say so.
It is. Wait. No, I'm not sending that over. I'm going to send. Do you not think it's spring, Diana?
It's not spring here today.
Oh, you mean it doesn't look like spring?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, isn't that just the truth about spring? Like,
yeah.
spring always comes in kind of nasty. Here we go. Yes, if you say so. Thanks, Spring. So I've just sent you over the picture, and I'm going to pull this out so we can see more of this. All right. So you're going to start by, those of you who have a grid are going to start by kind of, you can even do little dots where where this red line intersects. Whoops. Yep, with the grid, with the grid lines to start your drawing. Notice I'm just kind of, and I'm sort of ending these into the white. Here, you probably can't see that very well. Right. So here are the areas. You're just going to draw this outline and deal with it box by box. All right. For those of us who are going to be drawing this straight up and down, I'm going to figure out this center line is actually, well, I'll do this. I'm going to go into the center of his little face. Let's see if this works.
Leah, yes, exactly. If you look to the right of a ruler, the tip
Here's
of
the
a nose,
center.
the tip
Yep.
of a nose
The tip of
matches the tip of a nose on the right matches the eye. See, but the edge of the eye.
the edge of the eye, but
That's
that's not the halfway.
No, I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
useful.
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely. God, Sandra, great. This is great. I love it. I'm trying to draw a center line that we can use to keep our, here, hold on. I'm trying to get halfway here. That's about right. I'm going to try and draw these lines. So for those of you who are not, yep, exactly. Very nice. Yes, great relationship building. So I'm trying to find the tallest and the widest points of him. I guess this is the widest point, isn't it? Yeah. Tallest and the widest points. So when I sketch out, and this comes up to here. So when I sketch out, and I'm kind of moving a little bit to the right, not entirely, I'm a little bit to the right of center when I'm adding these lines in. Here's my, that's a little bit tall. Here is where I think this line is, and I've just established this randomly, and then I'm going to check and see how tall this line is compared to this line. So let's see, if I were to divide this line into halves, if I were to divide this line into halfway points, I think this is about the halfway point. Yeah, down here. So there's the halfway point. Yep. So here is the, so I've divided my line into quarters here, and now I can see it is exactly 3/4 of, so the width of this line is exactly 3/4 the height of this one. So to be able to find my width, I get my halfway point here. I'm doing this without a ruler. I'm doing this by kind of measuring. You can see I put up where I think the halfway point is, and then I'm measuring. Is the top half the same as the bottom? Yeah. I think I put it down too far. It's like right in the middle here. No, that's not right at all. Way too tall. There we go. There's my halfway. So those of you who are working with your grid, just start drawing these red lines. And then I know that this line, which comes just below the center, is about 3/4. So I know that this line up comes up a little bit. I can see that this midpoint line comes just below the halfway point here. And now I can check it and see. Oh, nope, you need to be a little bit wider. There we go. I'm also checking that this point. So here's our, here's kind of, for those of you who are freehanding this, here is our like envelope, basically, our diagram envelope of where things are. So now we'll catch up with everybody else. I'm drawing here. Whoops. I have to bring this up a little bit. When you're guessing, sometimes it's trickier. I think that's about right. Notice how much I'm correcting. As I'm going along, it's easy to get this not quite right. Now, this is why we don't do it, right? It doesn't feel right. This actually looks pretty good to me. It does. Okay. Here, wait, let me a little bit further out so we can see everything. So once I've got this shape, I'm now going to be focusing on the biggest light and dark shifts. I know our tendency is going to be to want to go right to that eye, but we're going to skip the eye on this round of sketches. And we're going to do that dark shape around the eye. What a little cutie face.
It looks super cute.
He is very cute. A little bit of dark down here. Notice I'm also looking at the white area to find kind of transitional light shapes, light and medium shapes. So now I get to start. So those of you who are using your grid can just start getting in these shapes as you see them. And you'll notice my lines are kind of straight. Let's see. I want to check something. That's the problem. This is out a little too far. Felt like the top of the head looked a little bit too far out. So I'm bringing him back. There we go. That's better. I like this work because it doesn't have to be so fancy. It's not like your final lines. It's more like a little map for you as you're sketching out. Diana, before the end of this class, can you pop in the Zoom link and the password for your Open Studio on Thursdays? That
Yeah.
would be great. It's different than mine
Yes.
because Diana's running it from her Zoom, and I know that could be a little bit confusing. So I thought we would just make sure everybody knows that's always happening, and you can find the Zoom link here. Okay. Notice I'm kind of hopping around. As I see shapes. I'm always kind of surprised how big things are compared to how big I think they are. I kind of thought this nose was smaller, but it's taking up a lot more space than I thought. Notice how much erasing I'm doing. Oh yeah. There you go. That looks better. To really get into this, we're going upside down. So to really be able to see your shapes, turn your drawing upside down like I'm doing right now. And you'll really be able to see the shapes. You'll be able to notice things like how there's a space between these two objects, these dark objects, right? That shape is important. I need to get that shape as well as the actual shape of the eye mask. So you see how I'm sketching in? I'm thinking about these three things, pieces in relationship to each other. I'm not just trying to guess where one is. Okay. So that is a lot of what drawing is. It's relationship building. I'm looking, as I'm creating this shape and this shape, I'm also looking at this white shape up here. You see what I'm saying? So I'm never just thinking about my one shape. I'm kind of thinking about all of them. And when I think about all of them, it makes it easier. I can see. Did I do this right? Or is this kind of more up like that? Now I'm looking, did I get this shape right in relation to this shape? It looks like, yeah, I think so. I think it's in pretty much the right space. Up, went too low. So easy to do that. Oops. Even still too low. Really, this crosses at the halfway point here. Yep. So notice how easy it is to to exaggerate the size of things. Pay attention to this. There's my dark edge. I outlined this edge because if you look at the light down here, it gets a little darker. That's because the body is turning under and away from the light. So even though it's light fur, it's not the same kind of light as what's happening further up here in the belly. And then I think it's in pretty good shape. Anyway, I'll let you guys finish. We'll catch up. Oops. I accidentally sent you a one. Here, I'm going to take a picture of it upside down. So that you're really, does anybody find this upside down kind of nice? First, you're like,
it's useful, yes.
it's super, it makes it much easier. It makes the task much easier. Does anybody know why it makes the task much easier?
Yes, because you only see the shapes as opposed to letting the other brain telling you what it is.
Right, right. It somehow seems to disconnect the left side of the brain, which wants to define things for you, right? Like it somehow disconnects that notion. So you're more focused on shape and less on what something is. And you're more sort of focused on shape in relation to other things. Now, when I see this, I see that these two shapes, now that I've stepped away for a second, I'm like, oh yeah, these two shapes are a little bit too far apart, these dark shapes, because I'm looking at this shape. So now I'm like, okay, I knew there was something off.
It's because the left brain doesn't like, it could tell you I'm going to draw you an ear, but it can't tell you I'm going to do it for you upside down. At that stage, it just disconnects.
I guess it's just like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I give up.
I'm not interested.
I'm going to
this upside down.
Yeah, I'm going to go sit on the couch and watch soap operas. I'm frustrated. I want a hot fudge sundae, you know. Like, damn it. The right brain also likes to create false symmetries where there are none. Meaning this is the halfway point of the face, but it doesn't feel like it's halfway because this side of the face is so much smaller, right, than this half. And the reason it is that it's turned away from us, which means it follows a different set of rules than this side of the face. That's the simple way to put it. So it likes to create, I think the left brain really likes to create a sort of idealized image that's easier to draw than the right brain.
Very considerate.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but really, really unhelpful when it comes to drawing. Like the least helpful. Hi, Mira. Nice to see you. Hi, Janet. Good to see everybody. I'm just checking in to see everybody here. Good to see you all. Go ahead and you can start to send these in to me if you want me to take a look at them.
I'm starting to think I should lower my horizon on this rat picture.
Go ahead and send it over and let me take a look. If you
Yeah,
want me to, or you can maybe,
I can send it.
okay.
It's just sketch. It looks so silly. I'm so into this.
um, let's see, hold on. Sorry, Jane, I saw you just sent yours in and I was just, okay, Sandra, good. So Jane, I feel, can you take a, I can't quite, I'm looking here. Let's see.
Yeah, making my lines really, really light.
Right.
So I don't.
So I want to make sure you're not confusing this silver line, which is what I'm using, with the black grid lines. Are you getting confused with that? This silver line is for people who are drawing without a grid, and you should not pay attention to it.
I think I'm okay.
Okay, great. So yeah, can you, I'm just like trying to check. I feel like, here, hold on. This shape feels too big to me.
Yeah.
So because there's a shape here, see there's this shape and then there's this, so there's this black kind of triangle shape. Then there's this light triangle shape and then there's this other dark triangle shape. They're kind of right next to each other. I don't
Okay.
really see that happening in your,
No.
so I would say,
All right. Good thing they're light lines.
yeah, that's why. And this is the great point. And you saw how many mistakes I made as I was like sketching this out. So the idea is that this is, if you do it like this, let's see, Sandra, I'm gonna push him. Sandra, his little nose is closer to his eye than you have it. That little nose.
The nose,
Yeah, the nose,
the tip of a
nostril
nose, you
part.
mean?
Yeah, like right here. Look at that relationship. So use that. It's right. This line, these definitely line up, but look at this triangle, the
Yep.
top of the nose in relation to this triangle. That makes sense. Here, I'll sketch it
Yes.
in here just a little bit.
Thank you.
It's just a minor correction.
But it's going to make a
huge
difference.
thing, but it'll make a difference, particularly in short. And also, Sandra, look at this shape. Look at this light shape. Make sure you get that. It's really, it's kind of like straight up, over, down. Make sure you don't lose. And make sure you've got enough. You've made the eye too big on this side. Look at how much dark. It's almost one eye length of dark. So this shape here, so fun to like, you know, what you find is that you start sort of breaking things up. Does anybody here quilt? So here's
No.
this dark shape. Here's this dark shape. So these eyes are surrounded by dark shapes,
Right.
right? I feel like this is a lot like quilting, or like maybe how fixing. And Sandra, I also feel this eye is too round, needs to be more oblong. But these are great. I mean, it's really good. I'm just looking at
Thank you.
the shapes more than anything else. And of course, for those of you who are ready, we can jump into more of the shapes.
Yeah, I think I need to lower the horizon, right?
I'm sorry, Diana. Let me take a look. I'm just getting those fixed in. Oh, and one more thing that's an important shape to see. There's this triangle, and then there's that dark space underneath. Let's see.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, let me look. You probably can tell just by taking the photo.
Yeah. A little bit.
I mean, do you want more focus on the sky?
No.
Then you shouldn't lower the horizon. If your emphasis is on the sky,
No.
then you lower the horizon. But if your emphasis
No,
is
it's not.
on the road, then you keep the road where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay. And it is, it's on the road in the sign, really. It's looking good.
Okay.
Ha, good, Osiris. Okay, Julia, let's see here. I'm just looking. Good job, Julia. Good eyeballing. So Julia, I see you're doing a lot of sketching using the iPad, and I think that's really awesome. I wanted to show you one thing here. Pay attention. Look at this shape. Okay, yours is extended out a little bit longer. It's more of a, really pay attention to this white shape right here between the two. Otherwise, this looks really good. And I wanted to sort of say, I wanted to tell you that these are, what we're doing are kind of complementary, but not the same skills, as you probably figured out. Like, right? Like there's the skill. I think your eye is pretty good in terms of guessing shapes, right? What shapes are. And I can see that, which you still need to employ when you're using the iPad. But what we're also doing here is working with the tool. And depending on whether we're using a pencil or pastels or a paintbrush, right, there's also the additional brain work of how do I get the tool to do what I want it to do. So I wanted to just say, I think it's really wonderful. I love that what you're doing, and know the difference between what you're working out, you know, the exercises that you're working out. That's kind of the fun thing about this. And particularly if the iPad will get you to draw every day, that's a great. This in some ways is more work because you have to get rid of every line manually, right? As you see, it's like it's a, okay, Mira, I'm gonna take a look. Mira, very nice.
Just loving the whole process of
I know, isn't it?
anything. I did one of your acrylic tree as well, my first acrylic thing. I messed
Awesome.
up times. I was going to join you on yesterday, and then I realized you were an hour ahead.
Right. Yeah, so I just wanted to emphasize to you how much I'm enjoying, what a good drawer you are. I mean, what a good eye you have for where things go. And that is such a huge, that's a huge skill. That's a huge skill. And then there's the separate skill of, okay, if I'm using my iPad, how do I manipulate this around? And then there's a, how do I get this tool in my hand to move things around? It's very interesting to me. And by the way, everybody, Mira, that looks great. You just keep on going. Nina, pretty good. I'm going to look here. Nina, you're just getting better and better at this.
Can I just ask a question though?
Yeah.
Anytime I turn it upside down, it really confuses me. So I actually have to turn it the other way around. And I don't know why upside down.
You're very strongly left brain. Like your left brain is, that's your left brain. You're more comfortable in your left brain than your right brain, I guess is the way to put that. So you're wanting to know what something is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's your problem. Yeah. So that's the problem. The problem is that you want to know, your left brain is more developed because you've used it. You're a beginner as a right brainer. So just like you're going to be more uncomfortable not evaluating when something is, it bothers you not to, but that's all your left brain. So my advice to you is if you can just turn that off, that you don't need to know what the thing is, you're just looking at the shapes, it'll help you work upside down, because that's more the right brain. It's not about what the thing is, it's about how the shapes are next to each other. That makes sense?
Yeah, I'm very left brain. So I find drawing, I spend too much time analyzing and looking at it. And then when I turn it upside down, I'm very strong left brain, I realize. And when I turn it upside down, I've got the grid, then I've got these shapes, and then I get even more confused. And then it takes me longer to figure it out.
Because you're trying to add the step of figuring out what it is that you're drawing. So what I would tell yourself is, don't tell yourself, don't, it's not important. At some point, we have to turn this right side up. But in the point that you're in right now, it is not important to know what it is you're drawing. So if you can tell yourself that, that will help.
Okay, because I turned it the right side way up. That's why.
Right. And you got some things right. And so I'm looking at your drawing and I'm seeing.
I know some things are off.
Some things are off. Right, because you're not looking at the shapes, right? So here, let me see if I can take a look at what's going on here. although it's better and better.
Okay. No, that gives me encouragement because I think it was William. He sent something in the pastels group and he had a grid, like a big one that
Mhm.
he did his pastel on. And do you think that's something that's helpful?
I mean, this is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, this is exactly the same thing. What he did is exactly the same thing as what we're doing right now. So yes, the grid is helpful because you're using it right now.
Right.
It's
Thank
exactly,
you.
it's
This
exactly.
is encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm looking upside down because it's easier for me. So for what I see is if you turn your paper upside down, I'm going to point out some things to you right now. I want you to turn your paper upside down. I'm going to point out some specific shapes.
Okay. It's upside
Okay.
down. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So you see this white shape here.
Yeah.
And you see that there is a sort of dark, a medium gray shape kind of capping it on the top.
Yeah.
Take a look at what you did on yours. So you brought your
Okay.
drawing up to here.
Yeah.
See that?
I see. It's too high up.
It's too high up. So you've
Yeah,
lost the
okay.
shape completely. So what I want you to do is just do a quick correction. Go around. It actually isn't really pretty good. So I'm not trying to knock it. I think I'm trying to encourage you to, you're uncomfortable because your left brain wants to control the situation. So it wants to be in the driver. It's used to being in the driver's seat. It wants to be in the driver's seat. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to embrace the discomfort
Okay.
of not actually knowing. You haven't done this process enough to really, I want to encourage you to get into right brain without really knowing the end process. And I think that for a super analytical person, that's hard to do, right? Because this is a whole different logic system. And so anyway, do what you can to see if there's areas that you can correct. You can go through and you can go shape by shape. Did I get those in the right places?
Yeah.
And by the way, most things are in the right places, but that was one that I wanted to show you. And actually, these guys look pretty good. Like, so all of this looks pretty good. So yeah, just go through and do a quick skim, but tell yourself part of the issue here is that you're uncomfortable, right? Like, is that like, you're not used to the right brain
Okay, I
logic
see.
problem system. And thank you for bringing this up because I think you're just saying what a lot of people are thinking. Does that make sense? Oh, I lost you. Did we lose you, Nina? I hope we didn't lose you, or maybe, guys, I lost you for a second. Nina, I just wanted to tell you, I don't know if you heard this. I was saying, I think you're saying what everybody else is thinking, but doesn't want to say. So I love, you're really helping us break down what the process is. So all of your questions are fantastic because they're really helping. Even for me, I kind of internalize a little bit the system, right, of the drawing because I've done it so much. Now it's a very familiar system for me. So I really appreciate you asking these questions because that's the real value of your left brain is your left brain wants to understand the process. And it's such a different process, isn't it? So, and notice when it is a totally different process. And what will happen, so right now your left brain kind of fights it. As you start to get more used to it and it clicks in for you more, you're going to find your right and your left brain kind of work together in a very harmonious way. It is also true that as you learn a new skill, you push yourself in your comfort zone. By the way, if you notice here, I've drawn these two triangles in so I can get my eye in the right place. As you push and here, okay, so this is a great example. So check this out, Nina. I think I made this mask too big. And the reason I say that is that I can see that there's only a little dark on the left side of my eye. So once I sketch that in, can you see my original eye was here? The eye mask was here. And now as I add in these shapes, I'm able to see, oh, there's just a tiny dark strip here, not this big thing sticking out. So I can adjust that. Right? So I'm thinking about this piece What happens is, as you start to exercise a new part of your brain, your entire brain works harder. And just like physical exercise, you know, where you're exercising your body and then for like 30 minutes afterwards, your whole body, your heart's pumping, everything's like moving together to get you going. Your whole brain functions to, so ultimately your left brain will learn to love the right brain practice you're giving it, and it'll embrace it because your left brain will notice it'll start to work better because you're using your whole brain. When we get good at something, like learning to drive a car or learning a process or learning how your computer system at work, you know, works, or solving a complex like problem that you deal with various iterations of it every day. What happens is, as soon as you get really good at something, your brain creates shortcuts to make it easier for you, which means your whole brain stops working and your brain starts to deteriorate. So we are trying to prevent brain deterioration. Yeah, so basically the moment you get something good, you get it and you understand it, your brain stops working.
It's lazy is what you're saying.
It's not lazy, it's efficient. It's efficient,
yeah.
right? Like, yeah, it's not lazy. It's like, I don't want to work. Well, I guess it is in a way. Yeah, one could say, is it efficient or is it lazy? It just figures out a quicker way to do something. Whereas when you're learning something new and hard, your whole brain is working. And because your whole brain is working, all the processes are kind of on higher alert. So after a while, your left brain's going to feel the benefit of working out your right brain, and it's not going to fight so much.
That's good to know.
Right.
I feel like I'm the only one sometimes who's struggling. So
no. You're the one that wants to, you're the one who wants to understand what the struggle is. You're wanting to explain it to yourself, and that's great. And everybody else does too. They're just, for some reason, you know, it's just, anyway, yes, everybody's struggling, and the struggle is the same struggle. Yeah, Toshmina's saying, definitely not the only one.
I actually feel good hearing that, so thank you.
Yeah, well, and that's why you're here. You want to learn, so this is why you're here. I never said drawing was easy. I said it's doable, but it's a whole, we have to learn a whole new logic system that works for drawing, right? So it's going to feel, and just notice that your left brain is not helpful in the way it analyzes things. Once you get that, you're like, okay, I need to figure out the new way. So what I'm doing a lot in this particular, oh, I can see I did, I can see something's wrong here. Let's see, uh-oh, something might be really wrong. Haha, something's really wrong. I might have to do a serious correction here, which will be great for you guys to see. Well, let me see here. 1, 2, 1. I just need to bring this in a little bit. So I put this out a little too far, and I figured that out by looking at, yep. So this comes to here. This nose is too big. So watch, and I'm pretty far into the drawing, right? So you're all like, well, wait, does that mean you have to do? And as Sandra pointed out, the nose lines up with the eye. The tip of the nose lines up with the eye on this side. So how much have I actually messed this up? Not too bad. You're going to watch me problem solve this. And I figured it out when I sketched in this triangle that's underneath this eye. And then I realized, wait a minute, this extended out too far. So there's the dark part of the nose. Yep, I got it. I fixed it. So that wasn't too bad. I thought it was a huge correction. It's not that huge a correction. There we go. Up here. Yeah. So what I really like, so see, Nina, it's not just you. It's like not just you. I totally did that.
Okay, yeah, because I started the cat drawing last week and then I just left it. I'm like,
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. What we're learning is you're wanting, yes. And in fact, I think also this might be too far down. Yep. This is also a little bit too far down. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes. So I have managed to recreate. I pretty much redrew my whole nose mask. I had to make it much smaller without too much trouble. And like you can see, you know, the eraser lines are here. Here's where it was, and now here's where it is. And now I'm like kind of redrawing this. That affects these shapes just a little bit. What's really nice about this process is if you make mistakes in this phase, they're pretty easy to correct. The big problem is when you make mistakes in, oh, I can see also as well, I did this here, is when you make mistakes and you get all the details in and then you realize the eye is too far off this way or this way. You can see that all of the relationships I'm sketching in are, I can move stuff around fairly easily. Oh yeah, this comes up like that. All right, and I know some of you have already jumped ahead into doing your darks, so go ahead. And do you guys want to keep working upside down? If you don't, let's see. Stitch. Yeah, Claudia, good. Really good. Good shapes, good placement. Drawing is more difficult than teenagers? Oh my God. Say it isn't so. Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a teenager, but I imagine that to be true. Remember, we're working as you're sketching in. We're going with the darkest areas first. That is the most satisfying way to paint and draw, because your darks will kind of interact with your lights. Notice in the eye that there is a white spot that you should preserve and not draw. You should keep as light. There's like one, I'm kind of actually just sketching in. It's little highlights that you should sketch around when you're getting into eye detail. Sandra, thanks for pointing out that relationship between the nose and this eye. It's very helpful.
Yeah, I
had it in my mind. So when you said it, and then notice I just kind of, I went, okay, yeah. And then I stored it. And then I went, no, wait, Sandra noticed this relationship. This is how I know my nose went out too far, because this part should line up with the eye here. It's an interesting, well, if you've quilted, I feel like quilting is like this. If you have any relationship to cars, I think building a car engine is like this. I think carpentry is like this. Puzzle making is a little bit like this, but easier because you're not, you know, the shape, the pieces are all the same size. So you have to put them in groups. But you know how when you work a puzzle, you've got to find the sort of groups of shapes. You don't know what anything is. So you're kind of forced to find the groups of shapes that all work together. I mean, puzzle pieces are basically just one set of shapes, so it's not as extreme as others. Yeah, look at how quickly I've just kind of sketched in the darks as parts of the lemur, and look at how quickly that guy is popping forward. It's interesting how much that's happening. Lana, let's see. I know. Are you just watching, Tashween, or are you working? Are you working with us?
I just jumped in, so since
Jump in. Just do it.
yeah, or should
Yeah.
I talk?
What's that?
Talk.
I think you should. Oh, whatever you feel like doing, I guess. Work
Okay.
whatever you want to do. Send it over. I love that you've always got two, or I can see, Tashween, that you're somebody who benefits from working 2 or 3 things at the same time and then deciding what you feel like doing on a day. That's really great. Do it. If that's the way. Yeah. And I know you're very good with going back to the videos. So go on back to the videos too. I'm just looking here, Alana. Okay. Good, Lana. Good.
Julia.
Good. Yeah, Lana, you're in good shape. Start darkening. Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, Mira, he's so cute. Your kids are going to love this. So, Mira, one of the things I wanted to point out is that this
Okay.
area is really a medium.
Okay.
It's not a dark, right? So make sure you
yeah.
distinguish that. It's
Yeah.
significantly, you know, I
Light,
did
okay.
not take a picture of, let me see if I can black and white the original photo and send it over to you.
Okay.
Here, hold on. Oh my God, is it already? Geez, we've already gone no, we've already gone an hour. We have another hour. That's right. We started 9:30. I was like, we can't have just a half an hour left. This is insane. Let me pull up the image here and see if I can play with it. I have to pull it up in another program.
I've become occupied by a cat, so it's very hard.
Occupied, yes. Definitely your lap is occupied territory.
Yeah. Sure is.
It sure is, right? Oh wait, did I find a picture? Maybe I did. Let's see. So here is come back here, you. Where are you? Here we are. Okay, so here is the picture. I think I need to save it. Oh, for God's sakes. I find it really difficult to get images from my phone apps to other things that I can work on. How do this is where I really feel old. I'm like, I can't figure out, how do I do this? Can anybody easily take this picture and turn it into a black and white? Put it on the phone. I'll figure it out here. Hold on.
Leah, I can do it. Text it to me.
It's in the WhatsApp chat.
Okay.
See, I'm struggling here. I'll put it up here in the front of the chat. And I'm struggling to get it out into a form. Oops, beginning drawing.
Where are you today, Jessica?
There it is. She's in she's in St. Patrick's.
Oh.
Let's see. Looking pretty good, Olga. I'm going to flip it upside down so I can see. Yes, good job. You're getting better. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks, Nina. Thank you. All right, so there is your black and white.
Okay.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Nina. Thank you for noting my struggle. I feel like sometimes when I'm teaching, like for me, the tech part, which is ridiculous because I've been teaching online forever, but for some reason, the tech part for me is when I'm trying to teach, explain something and draw, which is not really a left brain sort of process. To get back into the left brain process of trying to figure out a photo app is where I lose my mind. That's where I'm like, that's it. I shut down. But that's also, I'm old. I'm like over 50. I'm not as good with this stuff.
Isn't that kind of midway in life?
Yes, yeah, but it's not young, you know, right? We're not young. we're not old maybe, but we're not young. Okay, I'm midway. But
Old enough to get a vaccination. That's good.
not yeah, right? Old enough to get a vaccination. It's the new thrill.
Isn't it open for everybody now? At least it's in Michigan.
No, Michigan's got you guys have your act more together. You've always had it. You have a better healthcare system than a lot of us do.
Yeah. For
yeah.
us, it's like it's going to be open for 16 plus next week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, it's really hard in Oregon, but Oregon struggles with it's funny, there are not that many people in Oregon. There's probably like 3 or 4 million people in all of Oregon, but Oregon really struggles to deliver service. Like we really have a hard time with it. I don't know.
I've had friends who call up the pharmacy or the doctor so there's any more leftover vaccines. They get them and they just run.
I've heard that, but right, like I can't get my doctor.
There is
On
a
the phone.
website called Vaccine Finder. You can actually put your zip code and find the vaccine. I mean, that's how I booked mine, and I got mine last
Ooh.
week. So I can
Good
put the
job.
link here.
Yes, please. Vaccine Finder. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it's nutty.
Well, in Canada, I'm not probably going to get a vaccine till late summer. So
Yeah, we are probably not going to get. Yep. I would say Oregonians my age and younger are probably not going to get anything till May.
In LA, you can, and I think that might be the same in Oregon. You can volunteer at the vaccine center, so you for 4 hours, and
Yep.
that qualifies.
And then you
for
get your then you get your vaccine. Yes, I know people who have done that.
Yeah.
I unfortunately do not have time to volunteer. I wish I did.
It's only a 4-hour pass you need.
I challenge you to find out 4 hours in my week, Diana, just like yours. I challenge you to find 4 hours in my week. Maybe when I'm like in my 60s or 70s, I won't have to work so hard. But right now, it's pretty much a full run every day.
Well, that's a good thing.
It is. Yeah. People always think artists don't have enough work to do, but I'm like, it's pretty. Artists can be pretty busy. Can have a lot to do, just depending on demand and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm not complaining, but I'm not volunteering. I'm not going to volunteer.
You're not getting vaccinated.
And I'm not getting back. Of course, I'm also not leaving my studio. So
Yeah,
I guess I don't really have to worry. I'm just like kind of locked into the studio here.
Yeah. I know that feeling. I so long to get out and about and meet my friends.
Yeah. So I'm finding that as I'm starting to find the difference between the light and the dark areas, my eraser is becoming quite helpful to me. So rather than trying to sketch out with dark lines, I'm kind of bringing a dark area in here and then pulling it out with my eraser. So the eraser is a good tool. In fact, I just got another eraser so I can do even better. Very soon, you guys, I'm going to send out we are eventually going to move to charcoal and ink in this class. So I will soon send out, but not very soon, in a couple months. So I will send out a kind of, I got an art supply store to package all the materials that you need together to buy in one go, and they'll take 10% off if you order with them. So I'm going to make that available soon. I think it's going to be helpful. It'll be fun. So you'll see that then the reason I'm thinking about that, let me explain my scattered thinking, is that, you know, the different, you're going to learn with different drawing tools, how the different, what's helpful to create the textures that you want. So a eraser can be helpful. You might go back in with a little bit of up here where the dark areas, there's these kind of little whiskeries. I'm kind of trying to pull in a little bit of that using my pencil, but not so, you know, the same in every way. I'm trying to like, there's a few dark whiskers in here. It gets a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. What was it? Was it Vanessa? I missed Vanessa this week. Vanessa's not here, is she? Baby must not be sleeping. Vanessa was like, oh, I get it. The more grays I see, gray variations I see, the more there are. Like I locate another and then I see 3 more next to it. So we're really looking for 50 shades of gray. But not the ho-hum sex kind, the more interesting drawing kind. And you might use your background. So we get to these like areas where the light sort of fur meets the dark background. It might behoove you to add in your background. So those of you who have taken painting with me, notice there's a certain point at which I add in the background. This is about halfway.
Background here, are we?
You could, where the light, see, I'm doing it right now, where the light meets the dark areas.
Oh, I see.
It can help you
you
in order to get the fur. You might want to. You don't have to do it everywhere, but you can do it in the areas. So the background will help. I guess the theme of this lesson is when you're looking for help and trying to finish something or do a drawing, it's often the thing, look at the thing next to what you're trying to draw to give you information on how to create that texture that you want. So it's always looking at the piece next to the piece. So in a way, you're sort of breaking apart in different ways. So it's all the different ways I can visually look at a thing. I keep breaking it apart. Kind of fun. Go ahead and send stuff in. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Mira. Oh, but that is good shape. It's more difficult than teenagers. Go ahead and send stuff in as you're working on it, you guys. I will stop. Yes, good, Jane. Ah, excellent. Jane, I'm appreciating your mark making. I'm really liking your mark making. Don't forget, there's this real dark shape here. And then that triangle of kind of a medium up in here. But I love it looks like a lot of work though, but I still like it. It looks really fun. It's wonderful. Tasmin, whatever you're working on, send it across. And Diana, as I said, will be sending across at some point when she gets a chance.
Yeah.
She'll send across. So on Thursdays at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 4 and 5 p.m. Europe time, 8:30 p.m. India time. You can, on Thursdays, every Thursday, you can jump into an open studio with Diana on her Zoom. if you want to work on any of the projects that you've started during the week, or if you just want to work on something else. So it's an open studio, just meaning you'll work on whatever you want to work on. Diana will be there to help. I unfortunately am teaching another class at that time, so I can't now join in. At some point, maybe I'll join in and work too. It's more like, I think it's like, in some ways it's less stressful than a class because you get to pick what you're working on and you don't have me going, nope, 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 don't do that, fix that. So I think it might be easier. Oops. Darn. He was like, you should come on in for a second. You can see him. He's like, his tail is like up and he's like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I've got a class going, but oh, it's all right. No, that's cool. Okay. So I wanted to give you, so let's, oh wait, no, there's no one. So here's the St. John's Bridge. This is the coast. And then here's a little sticker of the St. John's Bridge so that you know you're welcome in Oregon and you should come by and say hi.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
And did you have a good time? I know it was rainy. I saw you go running it like I was about to.
There was one point it just started coming down faster and that came back out a little bit after I stopped. But yeah, no, honestly, I loved it. Like we went out to some really good we went out to a couple restaurants. We just joke around. And it's like 4 or 5 years worth of planning finally coming together.
All right, girl. So I sent you some of the Airbnb links, and if any of those are available, you should jump in. They're very close to where you're moving, and they're gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
And I've curated those so that.
Lovely.
All right. So traffic light.
Thank you.
Are you driving or are you flying?
We're driving up to Seattle and then I'm flying back. Awesome. And then we are flying over. My roommate, at first she was wanting to drive.
That's fine.
And I'm like, I held my tongue because it was really because of she had just bought a car. And I held my tongue like, okay, but I'm thinking the cost of driving cross country probably is going to negate the benefit of
moving it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, thankfully she was like, the more she thought about it, she's like, I'm going to hurt my back halfway through. And I'm just going to be miserable the rest of the trip.
Well, don't forget us and don't be a stranger, okay?
Definitely.
Take care of yourself.
You as well.
And yeah, and touch base when you get in the room.
Definitely.
Go grab a drink or something.
Thank you, Leah.
Bye. Take care, sweetie. Okay. Sorry, guys. I seem to keep getting booted. I've noticed lately I'm getting booted off my internet a lot. Everybody okay?
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay, good. Hold on. I'm going to go get plugs and chargers. I'll be right back.
So Claudia, how do you like your new job?
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. We do lots of cool stuff, actually. I mean, not as much as we could because of, lockdown, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Are you managing to study as well?
I've been lazy the last 3 weeks, but yeah, technically, yes. Yeah, it's just a lot, but yeah, we just got another 4-week lockdown, so
yes. Oh.
Yeah, numbers are fine. But yeah,
I'm glad you got your new job. You found your new apartment is your own, right?
Yeah, I don't have roommates. Yeah, it's just me.
And it's not a second-hand lease.
No, it's no, it's not a sublet. No.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the lease. Yeah. No, it's all good. Can't complain.
And you're in Montmartre.
Yes. Actually, the first apartment I looked at was in the house where Picasso had his first atelier in Paris.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just amazing. I mean, you know, there's you can't really tell, but you know, there's just a little sign on the door, and I thought, oh, this is actually really amazing. Yeah, little trace of him.
But you didn't get that one.
Well, it was bigger, but it was also, you know, more expensive. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to spend all my money on rent. I need to eat.
Come on. Eating is for wimps.
Yeah, I know.
So hadn't you just moved, Claudia? Are you talking about moving again?
No, I just moved 3 weeks ago, so I'm thankful.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're not a glutton for you're certainly not a glutton for punishment.
So she was telling us she was looking at an apartment where Picasso had his first atelier.
Oh, how cool is that? I bet it was expensive.
Yeah, it was.
And the
it's
funny
just
thing,
up the street actually, but yeah.
Well, you're in the right neighborhood. You're in the right neighborhood. That's a good life you got going there, Claudia.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm happy. Can't complain, really.
You cannot complain.
Okay.
Everybody in the zone, it's nice. I like the chatter, but I also feel like I can feel the practice happening. I can feel you in your zone. The zone is kind of like you forget time.
So Leah,
yeah,
you have the link and my password in your Facebook Messenger that I sent yesterday.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can put it in. Let me grab it. Since you guys are busy working, let me do that. I mean, I'm working, but I'm working with you. Let's see. You sent it on via Facebook Messenger? Okay.
Yeah. You know, I sent it.
Yep.
Like
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I wonder if I can just actually send this. No. Trying to get me to join it. Nope. No. I mean, the challenge is always how to get it from one system into another, but I think I can figure that out. Here we are. Here we are. Tashween, that really turned out well. How fun is that? All right, here is Diana's Thursday morning open studio. Or Thursday, I'm going to say Thursday open studio. I daren't to even say morning because it's not morning for really any. Password is password messenger. Got it. So Tashween, here is the best place to find it, but I'll try and get it into the other threads as well. Just to I told Tashween to go find it, and then I realized I'd taken it off off my website. And the reason I'd taken it off my website is that I was just, oh, Nina, there you go. Okay, so Nina, I'm thinking his eye I want you to turn this upside down.
Okay.
Turn it upside down. The eye on the right is good, but you can see there's a problem with the eye on the left. And when you look at the eye on the left, you can when you look at it, you can really see it. So you have to erase, you have this guy. I'll show you where you've got his eye. In fact, we were talking about Picasso and you kind of Picasso'd this, right? Where the eyes of one eye is like somewhere else. So I've got this up here. So see what you put the eye here. You put it outside the triangle.
Oh, okay. It's bulging out. Okay.
It's not even just bulging out. It's like totally out. So notice the actual shapes that are happening here. You need to erase that eye and you need to erase everything that's in here. And you need to put that eye in between these two lines.
Oh, okay.
Got it?
Isn't it easier just to make the face wider?
No.
No, okay.
Because then you ruin the proportions, right?
Okay.
Your proportions need to stay the same. And if you make the face wider, then it won't fit with the rest of the body.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yes, no, that's your left brain again. So turn it
I don't know how to turn it off. Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, you turn it. Well, I'm gonna get you there, girl. We're gonna get you there.
All right. Thanks. Okay.
We're gonna get you to the right brain, and you're getting there.
So can I ask you a question? Like, why would someone who's left brain, because we're all left brain because we work in like a knowledge industry, why are we so drawn to art, like to help us?
Because it's a whole other intellectual thought process. So anybody who's into analyzing things in all the different ways, it's a whole different intellectual. So I think there's two things. One is that we recognize that it's something that I think our brain has a desire to want to do it, right? Because it's a challenge to the brain. Imagine imagine if you hadn't been taught how to read. So how would your life be different if you hadn't been taught how to read? What do you think? To read. If you hadn't hadn't been taught how to read, how do you think your life would be different?
It would suck, actually.
Yeah, it would suck, and you'd probably have this desire to try to read, but you wouldn't know how. Right?
Yeah.
So you'd know in some way your brain would have a sense this is a capacity that hasn't been utilized, but you wouldn't know how to start because everybody has to be taught to read, right?
Yeah.
So I think drawing's the same way. I think it's an analytical skill set that you have to be taught. It's as intensive as reading, being taught to read. Nobody knows how to read. You have to be taught how to read, right? You have to be taught. It's too complex on us, and we spend a lot of years doing it. So, but imagine if you couldn't read, there'd still be this latent desire to want to. So I feel like that's how most people are about drawing. There is a latent desire, and the brain knows I can do this, but I have to be shown how. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's why everybody wants to do it. And because it's such a different analytical system that you have to be taught to do, most people think they can't do it. So there's a kind of sadness on the one hand. Imagine if you couldn't read, you would know there was information in books that you couldn't get to. You would have a sadness because you couldn't get to it. And then there would be this, kind of nagging urge to want to try with no idea of how to start. Mm-hmm. Is that a good analogy?
I think it's more than that, because children love art and drawing. Yes. And then school kind of makes them into left brain, but maybe naturally that's not what we are, some of us.
Well, everybody is both.
As a little kid.
Everybody is both. Everybody is both. Everybody has that.
No, there's some people who take no interest in wanting to draw whatsoever. I have some friends like that.
Right. But everybody has the capacity to do both, I would say. Like, it's just like any other process. Okay, let me tell another story. and I'm not disagreeing with you, Sandra, but I'm going to nuance this. I've taught many children, like, although I don't tend to sort of seek out children, I've taught many children art over my lifetime. And one of my favorite stories to tell, and I learn a lot by children about how they learn, because the children are learning, you adults are learning the same way the children are learning, but you're adults. So you have a whole different, you have a whole lifetime of patterns and habits that children do not have. So I have noticed that they have noticed there are kind of developmental stages of drawing that happen between the ages of 5 and 9 for kids. And there's no shortcutting them. So you'll notice kids at like the ages of 5 or 6, they start to like learn how to use the pencil. And for some of them, using the pencil is harder than others, right? Some of them kind of take to it more naturally, but every one of them has to practice. Like if you watch a 5 or 6-year-old draw a circle, sometimes they can do it. And then sometimes they're like, they can't, right? So there is a brain function, a separate brain function that happens as you view an image and then try to recreate it with a tool, this tool. So it's a hand-eye dexterity that needs to be practiced. And so I had a student who, when she was 6 years old, was in 12th grade math, 8th grade science. She was in every subject. She was vastly ahead. She was reading like a college student. But when she would come to try and draw something, she was just like any other 6-year-old. There was a manual dexterity that she lacked. And she cried with every lesson we did for the first like 6 lessons. First 6 sections all ended in her tears. Her mother saying, okay, we're going to try this again later. Me feeling like crap because I made a kid cry. And then what her mother and I both learned about her was that she was just going through the process of trying to learn how to get her hand and her eye, her manual dexterity and her eye to connect. And at 7 and 8, she got better. And also she got used to the process that she would draw and then erase, right? Draw and then erase. So I was working with her on very simple concepts. And the more and this is a very advanced kid, right? A kid that's really advanced in all the other areas. So I would say, Sandra, that some kids probably found that more frustrating, this hand-eye thing, and they stopped. And now it's really easy for kids to stop. They don't have to write at all. They don't even have to freaking do cursive anymore. They don't have to learn how to print. Bye, Jane. Great work today. So I think it is a latent process that you have to stimulate the brain to get it to work, but that everybody has the capacity, and that's why we have a longing for it. Or even if it's latent, or even if you turn it, some people aren't comfortable with longing, so they turn it into, I don't like that. I don't want to have to do it. I'm not interested in that. Right? But I think the brain has a longing to do it, because as you trigger the brain and start those processes going. Is that a really long description? Does it make any sense at all?
Yep.
Yeah. So I actually think it's a process, a latent process that our brain wants to do. But if you don't get taught it, like a lot of kids don't, you dismiss it. And what I notice now about, like, I taught a kids class for a year last year, 7 to 12-year-olds. And one of the things I learned was that kids who would not, that the 11-year-olds drew like 8-year-olds. They had no manual dexterity at all because they hadn't done cursive in school. They weren't doing all the things in school that you used to do to stimulate that part of the brain, that part of the copy and see, get the tool to copy what you see kind of brain. So that's the creative process of the brain. I think that's missing stimulation. And so they're not very spatially smart, kids these days. In America, if you ask a kid where they are, they often can't tell you. Like what state, you know, if I'm like, it seems that European kids have a better sense of this. If you say, what city are you in? They can tell you. What state are you in? They can tell you like where they are in relation to other things, because I think they're still getting more visual spatial things. You'll find that kids in the US often can't say where they are. They have no idea beyond like their block where they live. That could, I mean, they know it, but they can't answer that question. It confuses them. That is also a visual spatial question. So all of those processes are connected to the drawing process. So I think, Nina, the long answer to your question is we want to draw because our brain knows it's good for it.
No, that helps. That helps from an intellectual perspective, because everyone that in my family and stuff, they're just kind of like, why do you want to draw all of a sudden? You haven't you haven't done anything since you were 5. And I honestly have no idea. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you want to draw? I know, me too. I didn't learn to paint I didn't start painting until I was 30 something. I wasn't one of those kids who drew in school. I mean, I was a kid who painted when I was very young, but I didn't continue it. I was a writer. And so I went through my first career as a writer, as a journalist. And then all of a sudden, somebody, I forget what it was. I think I was traveling in Indonesia and I spent 3 days at a wax batik workshop. And I just got completely lost in creating wax batiks. I was sitting on this guy's porch and I just lost time. I just sat there and did it. And that changed everything for me. I realized there was this whole other way to look at things and analyze them that had nothing to do with what I knew. And so I started painting, and I was kind of a natural painter, but I was not a natural drawer. So my drawing really sucked. And so I had to take classes to be really bad at it. And until I understood intellectually what was happening to me, and then it became a sort of challenge, right? But along with the sort of frustration of not being able to do it well, sort of tied up with that was, oh my God, every time I figure out how to do something, this is so cool. I just last week, Tashween, this was a class you were jumping in on. I worked with a group of kids that are in a small private school in Massachusetts that's run by a friend of mine, has hired me to teach drawing lessons to his kids. We had kids from 11 to 17. He called me up yesterday. He called me up after it was over and said, oh yeah, we did exactly what some of the kids can't even believe that they could draw. It's like you taught them a magic trick, right? I just did exactly what we're doing here. So you taught them a magic trick, like they couldn't believe it. A couple of kids who are the better drawers really struggled. They got upset because I was telling them to do it in a different way than they were used to doing it. But like most of the kids were like, holy cow, I had no idea I could do that. And they were really into it. So that's like, I think that just shows that there is the latent desire is there because we seek knowledge, and this is another kind of knowledge. And what I found, Nina, after I'd been drawing for a couple of years, I found, yes, Tashween, wonderful. Yes, please jump in. I'm just rambling now. I found that I never struggled to write a news lead again. I was a reporter for 10 years. And I used to find the process of structuring a story very difficult. And after I learned to draw, I never had a problem with a story structure again, ever. I don't struggle with writing at all anymore. And I spent like probably about 5-8 years after I decided to become an artist, still doing journalism. So I had to pay the bills somehow. So I like continued to like do journalism, and I couldn't believe how easy lead writing and story structure got from me, because there's a visual element to that. And once I started practicing it with drawing, it completely translated over into the other work I did. It was fascinating. I tell people that, and I used to make a big deal of that because, you know, we have a lot of journalists here on the thread. And then I realized no one really cares. Like, you're already good enough writers. You don't care, right? Like, or whatever it is, your programmers or testers or whatever it is that you do, you're all good at it already. So you don't feel like you need to be better at it. But I'm telling you, I got better at writing, much better after I learned how to draw. Something clicked into play. It's like an overlay of a tool that clicked into place for me. And in fact, before I learned to draw, I used to walk into situations a lot and feel kind of like I was missing something. I was blind. Like, I really had to stumble around to figure out what the information was. And after I learned to draw, I was able to assess situations much more. The analytics came across. So that was what was interesting to me. Doesn't seem like they're related, but they're processes that you get going and then they change. They, once you get them in place, they really complement very nicely the other analytical processes you already know. So.
Leah, did you actually kind of go back to college? And you said you took some lessons, but did you actually like study formally and do an art degree? Or?
Not officially formally. I would not say. I did not do what Jessica did and get a fine art degree. I'm not a school person. I don't like to learn through school. I've never been great with that. And I also sensed that if I went to art school at 30 as a fairly inexperienced artist, that was going to tear me down. My sense was there were going to be way too many people who were better than me, and that my ego couldn't take that. So I just started painting every day. It's interesting, I have never taken a painting class. I have hired, I've met artists that I like who have taught me painting. So I've hired artists around the world, wherever I lived, to teach me some of their painting tricks. But I took a ton of drawing classes. I took a lot of drawing classes because it's really easy to find drawing classes. They're everywhere. So I took drawing classes consistently. I've studied at the Gage Academy in Seattle, which is a fine art academy. I've taken classes at the Art Students League of New York. I've taken classes with the two schools in Portland that are here. I've taken classes with both of them, PNCA and the Oregon Society of Artists. I've taken classes. That's actually not true. I took a watercolor painting class last year, which was really phenomenal. But I would target, but mostly I worked every day. So I just decided after the age of 30 that I wanted to be a painter. And the only way I was going to do that is if I painted every day. So I quit all my full-time jobs. I got a bunch of part-time gigs, and then I painted in my living room for 5 years. And then occasionally I would get a studio space to work in. I'd get some light crack at that. And I do that for a few months, but I usually would go back to the apartment because it was cheaper. I didn't really need to go anywhere else. And then, so I would say I was seeking a classical structure, but I knew that if I went to art school, I was going to be crushed. So I just didn't. And that's the foundation upon which this school is based. My school now is, I want people not to feel crushed and not to feel discouraged and not to feel like you have to be at a certain level to be able to excel. Everyone is going to be able to excel here. And at whatever pace they want to. So that was kind of the thinking. Boy, I'm in a gabby mood. Like, I'm not answering any question with short answers these days. Sorry.
I'm so interested in this because I'm just finding this, like, I don't know. I haven't drawn since I was 17, and I'm just
riveting. It's riveting, right?
I just want to do more of it all the time.
Good. So you should be finding all the ways. So jumping into every class you can here, and then maybe you find another teacher that you like in another program. You know, it's real easy to find online classes right now. There is so much more to learn. I'm so glad. That makes me happy. There's some books that you should read. I love the book Drawing with Children because it very specifically talks about process where kids are at different developmental stages. And also it recognizes that adults kind of need to return to that childlike stage to learn to draw. So that adults need some of the same things that kids need. The difference is that adults know they need them and kids just are learning, right? So it's kind of a brilliant concept in that way, because it kind of takes you wherever you're at and then pushes you forward. I mean, we have a little girl who's 11 who takes classes with us on Thursdays in the Art at Work program. Addie, she does great. You know, certain kids are totally ready to jump in. I have kids that are Addie's age that totally just want to do these cute little projects that my new kids art teacher teaches on Sundays. So it's really interesting, the kind of different levels of where people are at. And there's no end, Julia, to the depth to which you can go to break this down into science. So you start to build it. Yeah, it's pretty riveting.
Just, and my problem is I haven't got enough time.
Right.
I don't want to give my job up. don't want to work anymore.
So how quickly can you get out of work? That's my question. like I seriously, I have, you know, the nice thing about drawing and like the art career, like Janet Roberts, who's the one who started this whole program that you guys are doing, was started by Janet Roberts at Thomson Reuters. And Janet, I gave a drawing lesson to 5 years ago. She had never done anything. She was in her 50s. Janet is now she is working full-time at Reuters, but she is absolutely doing as much art as she can. And she is well on her way to transitioning into her third career as an artist. So we're strategizing all the time about when she can retire. And the thing about it is, art's a long game. So you don't have to think about what am I going to do next week? I mean, you want to think about that, but really what you're thinking about is how good am I going to be in a year from now? How good am I going to be 5 years from now? How good am I going to be 10 years from now? I've now been doing this 20 years. Now I'm thinking to myself, when I've been doing this 30 years, where am I going to be? That's really kind of how you think about it. So be careful, Julia. I could transition you out of your job really quick if you wanted to, like in 5 years or something.
Yeah, but live on it is a completely different thing.
It's tough. Well, that's why you kind of want to retire early. I figure if I can talk, you know, like you want to set something up so you've got some kind of income coming in, so you're not, absolutely dependent on art sales are sporadic. So, I mean, even if you sell a lot, it's still sporadic. I sell a lot and I'm still sporadic. I couldn't survive just on art sales. I have to do other things to make sure. And over the years up till even 2 years ago, I actually worked at one of my galleries as a sales girl. So part-time, I had, you know, when I needed to bring in money, that's what I did. So you're always kind of doing a couple things. It's kind of a luxury to be an artist, a working artist, meaning it helps to have some kind of like support. Or you just got to work really, really hard. But anyway, if you like retire into it, maybe you have a pension that helps you so you don't have to worry so much. And then you can supplement that with art sales and classes and other things that you want to do. Just be careful. 5 years is not a long time for me. 5 to 10 years is not a long time. You could be a lot of things in 10 years.
You'll train up a bunch of competitors.
Oh my God! By then I'm hoping. That I'm totally done teaching. Hopefully, just painting. But I don't know. I'll probably never be done teaching. I think I'm just going to hire everyone, Diana, to replace me.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I keep
I'm-
sending you with lemur, and then I keep tweaking it, and then sending it again, and then tweaking it, and sending it again. And
Hold on. Let me take a look at. Hold on. Let me take a look. Sorry, I've been totally off the WhatsApp thread. Let me go back to, oh, here's 8. Oh, Sandra, he's coming along. Yeah, I see it. This is good, Sandra. This is good. This may be one of your best structured drawings. Mira, great. Yeah,
Thank you.
in
great.
fact, mirrors very much look like a lemur.
It really does.
And I corrected mine thanks to hers because my eyes were too dark.
Yeah. I was just thinking that, Sandra. I was just thinking that. She got the values right and the shapes right. Mira, this might be your best drawing you've done in class.
Yeah, thank you.
Aren't you
Thanks
feeling?
to you.
Are you feeling it? Are you feeling it?
Yes.
Yeah. Sandra, by the way, your proportions are killer.
Oh, good.
I'm
I'm
glad.
I must say, thank you, Leah, because I wasn't good at drawing.
Yeah, you were struggling with that. We struggled with that.
I'm much better now. I feel much more confident.
It's funny how that happens too. It's like you struggle. So Nina, that struggle that you're vocalizing a lot, that is where everybody is all the time. And then all of a sudden, like one day, you'll find that it'll be easier for you. But when that will happen is kind of like it clicks in at different moments. I often find that the class space is not always the best place to see improvement. The class space, our class space is often where we see struggle. And then later, when you're not under because it's a pressure cooker, the class. Even a class that's as mellow and laid back as this one, it's a pressure cooker because you have an expectation to meet that's not yours. It's mine, right? I'm trying to teach you something and I'm going to push you there. So I recognize that this is actually, I often myself do not do my best work in a class. I practice what the teacher is trying to tell me as best as I can. And then later it kind of like links to what I'm doing. I can find it linking to what I do myself. So I know. It's interesting. You guys are doing great. We have about 10 minutes left. So
That's
there
cool.
you go. Can you believe that?
No. No.
Tashween, I really am loving your peacock. He's so cute. Really nice painting textures. I really like the edges that you're getting to with this guy. He's good. Yes, Hannah, open it. Yes, let's see. Put it up. I'm going to hold this up. Oh my God, that's looking great. Here, hold on. I'm going to add you as a spotlight so I can see it. Can you flip it upside down? Oh yeah, girl, you got it. You got it. It's great. Aren't you happy? So just get those darks in on the noses, right? You can darken. This can be darkened a little bit more. This area here, right? This part of the nose. And you can darken the eyes a little bit if you want to, but just it's wonderful. I mean, doesn't it look like a lemur?
I wasn't sure, so that's why I'm asking.
Don't you think? What do you guys think? Put it right side
Let's
up.
see, it's right way up.
Put it the right side up.
It definitely looks like a lemur.
It definitely looks like a
beautiful.
lemur.
Okay, good.
You got it. Wonderful work. Great work. Anybody else want me to put them on the spotlight? You want to put yourself
I'd
up
like-
here?
Can I show you mine also?
Yeah, Claudia, hold on. Let me find you. Here, hold on. Here you are. Oh, girl, that's looking
Right way up.
great.
Nice.
Let's see it the right way up.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah.
That's
Oh, it's
beautiful.
lovely.
Oh my
the nose is
gosh.
perfect.
The nose is
The nose is perfect.
So cute.
He has resting bitch face, I think.
It totally does.
I can also show you mine.
Yes. Let's see, Olga. Let me get you. Oh yeah, and Olga's painting. So here, let me replace the spotlight.
Oh,
Oh, Olga.
Ah, it's gorgeous.
I want to say, I really,
The fur is perfect.
I really
Those are
appreciate,
rocking.
I really appreciate your values, Olga. I appreciate the values that you're getting to with your painting. I can really see that happening. That's wonderful. Here, hold on. Let me get this back up here. Where am I? Here we are. No, that is good. I feel like your painting is going through the roof.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
do you feel it? Do you feel it?
I feel it becomes much more easier now.
Yeah.
I just feel the values because I was listening to you and you were explaining every time, and only now I get it.
Yeah, right. Like it's a lot. And that's the other thing is, right, I'm explaining it. And if you're not ready, if you haven't had enough experience, it's kind of like you have to know the mistakes that you make before you can know how to fix them. I think that's the confusion of the logic system of drawing, is that the way to work in it is it's such a different operating system than the system that we're used to operating in, that you have to make the mistakes and learn them first before it makes sense on how to fix them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, and that's the layers of knowledge that we've been talking about. Well, this just makes, what an exciting class. This just makes me I'm so excited. We're going to return to one of these lemurs when we get to watercolor. You guys are going to stay in beginning drawing, but this definitely, we're going to take this subject into watercolor because this is going to be a great one for watercolor.
So Leah?
Yeah.
Can we do the guinea pig next week then?
Oh, geez, I totally forgot.
No, we forgot the guinea pig.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Absolutely. Can you remind me, Claudia, to do the
Yeah,
guinea pig?
I'll send you a reminder on Friday.
Send me a reminder on Friday, and yes, we will do the guinea pig. I knew, I had this nagging feeling that we were doing something, and I couldn't remember what it was. We'll make your sister happy with a bunch of pictures of it.
Yeah, I told her about it, and she was like, freaking out.
All right, this is perfect. We'll do the guinea pig next week. Yep, absolutely. Sorry. Oh my God. Totally.
So much fun to see this.
What's that, my darling?
It's so much fun to see these.
They really are wonderful. And I want you guys to notice, this is the beginning drawing class. So where you were now, let's see, Janet. Ooh, very nice. I see you started with, I love the yellows. Nice. Gorgeous. Well done, Janet. Well done, Julia. Sandra, this is a great drawing. God, you guys, this is just great. I feel like the lemur has this kind of like wide-eyed, like, what? Look. Like,
yeah.
Like sort of surprised.
I'm so slow though. I'm not even halfway with but
you're doing something different.
Yeah, these freaking signs also takes forever to make.
Signs take forever to make and get them well. That's absolutely true. It's
What are you working on, Diana?
She's got a little commission.
Oh.
I'm doing paintings for children's book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, wait, I'm going to remove the spotlight. Let's put ourselves in gallery view. All right, everybody. Great work today. Does anybody want to say anything that they felt they did well today? I'm not going to make all of you do it. Does anybody have something they think they did well today? Mira, you should be talking.
I think I got the values correct this time.
Yeah, you did. Values and shapes.
Yeah, and shapes both.
Yeah, values and shapes. Yep, absolutely. Anybody else? Tashween, what about you and your peacock? What are you learning from that? What do you think you've learned from that?
I think going back has been a fun thing for me because I've always been afraid of like things will take too long, but it's been nice to be able to be like, it's okay, I can come back to it tomorrow.
Yes, and we've been doing that in painting this week, right? Like we've been practicing going back to paintings and going back over them and reworking them, or adding to them. What else? What else do you think you did well? Anybody? You're all still working. Everybody's like, I'm still working. Like, leave me alone.
I'd like to also add, Leah, that it's always been the hardest part is getting started,
Yes.
It's getting easier to like start class.
It helps to get, and it helps to have a class where people are going to notice if you're not there, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll notice if you're not there. I have a gym class I take every like 3 mornings a week at 6:30, and it's a really hard gym class. And half the time I don't want to be there, but she's live streaming, and there's only 6 of us. I know it's observed when I am not there. You get noticed, and so it helps to have people keep us accountable, doesn't it? And a video isn't quite the same thing. A video is like, a video doesn't care whether you show up or not. So I think live stream classes are important. I'm glad. You guys are wonderful. You're wonderful cohort, class cohort. Anything else? Anything else anybody wants to talk about or share? Anybody want to share their drawings? Anybody want to hold them up?
Yes, hold them up.
We can all hold them.
Yeah. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm going to take a picture of this. That's just too cute. Hold up your
Oh,
drawings.
Tommy looks great.
Honestly, they all look great. Here, hold on. Hold them up for just a second. I'm pulling up my camera. I'm taking a picture. Osiris, let's see your baby. Hold on. Here we are. Come on. Yeah.
Beautiful
Great.
people.
I missed a lot of the class. I had something else that was a.
Oh, that's true. All right. So
It's
these are looking
it's
great.
recorded. You can go back. It's recorded.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, you guys. Wonderful.
But I'll
Good
show
to
you what I did just to show you.
Please.
Just to show you I wasn't listening. Something.
I'll tell you guys, this is really fun. And I'm glad we're on this journey together. It's a lot of fun. And I hope we just get to keep on doing it and keep on doing it forever. Imagine where you'll be a year from now. Imagine where you'll be 2 years. Imagine where you were last year at this time, right? Where you were last year. Go back and find some of your earlier work. And even like from January to now, look at where you're at. You'll see a lot of progress. Great work, everybody. Have a good day. Some of you will see tomorrow for pastel landscapes. And just so that you know, in April, we're going to be moving the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday classes are going to be moved to a watercolor. But I'm going to continue. I'm going to add a 3-hour acrylic oil painting atelier on Sundays at noon my time. So 3 hours later 11 a.m. my time. So it should be, I think, at the latest starting at 7 in Europe time. So if you're wanting to continue with acrylic painting and you want to learn how to do oil, we're going to be doing that on Sundays starting in April.
Jessica, where is your work?
She's in the middle of doing it probably. Oh, there she is. Show us. Oh yeah. Ha. Wow. Oh,
beautiful.
Gorgeous. Osiris, were you going to show us yours where you're at? Or
I
not
sent
ready?
it.
Oh, you sent it.
sent
I'm
it.
sorry. I was like sitting here waiting, going, oh. Osiris, this is great. You're well on the way.
Great. I didn't even get a chance to do the whole class. I think I got
This is great. It is. You're on the way. Nina, this is the best drawing you've ever done in class. So you're getting there. Good job.
So this was very helpful because I think understanding why I like drawing helps. So
yeah,
it's very left brain understanding, but it's, yeah.
You know, I'm just like you. So I needed to learn like you did. I was exactly like you. I mean, I had to have it. I had to understand why things were so different and why I struggled. And my first couple teachers couldn't tell me. So I would go through drawing classes totally frustrated, wondering why I didn't get what I was supposed to be doing until I started to learn, you know, these theories and these treatments. So I get it. It needs to be explained. And, it'll come to you in like layers. Like as Olga said, I'll say something probably 30 times before it actually makes sense, right? Because you've done enough practice to be able to get that. Or maybe I say something 30 times, you don't get it. Jessica Pryor says it once and she says it in just the right way and you get it. So like, it's a way, it's like this whole vocabulary that we're learning. And the more questions you ask, the more we can get into the deep discussions.
It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. It
It
totally does.
Yeah,
It
in a
hurts.
good way.
In a
Yeah, but I
good way,
think
it hurts.
it's the repetition of everyone saying it, so it does help. Yeah.
It does. No, this is a totally new, different brain process. It's a different brain process.
I think also too, and I don't know if other people feel it, that you feel like you should be able to do it automatically, like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't understand why I can't, right? So then it
Julia.
frustrates me.
Julia, great work. And I think what I think is interesting.
Leah,
yeah.
hang on. I gotta talk quietly because I'm here, but
yeah,
not a single one of you would sit down at a piano without having ever taken a lesson and expect to play a Mozart sonata. Art is the same thing. I don't understand. Like there's like this thing, like nobody would expect to do that with a musical instrument, but for some reason everybody thinks that they should be able to do it with drawing and painting, and it's the same thing.
Right. Well, people think it's a natural skill. I will tell you one other thing that I think is interesting about drawing. I think what's happened is you guys have been set up to have early successes in your first lesson. So all of a sudden, your expectation of what you can do goes from 0 to here, right? And then because your expectation is here, there's a higher expectation, right? So actually what's happened is you've had a little success and then you're like, wait a minute, I should be able to do this better. Because you've had a bit of success at the beginning. I mean, I've set up these lessons so that pretty much everyone is going to have success on some level at the end of 2 hours, even if it's your first 2 hours ever drawing. So if you're like all of a sudden, I think your expectation goes up when you see what you could do at the end of 2 hours, then you're like, well, if I can do it this well, I should be able to do it this well.
I've gone through that 100%, Leah.
Right?
I've gone through that, yes.
Right? You go through that phase of like, why am I not better? Then you're like, why am I not better? So it's also this understanding, the deepening level of understanding. That's why I have that's why we repeat things so much, like keep repeating with the same thing, because you're going to keep understanding this differently every year that you continue to take lessons, right? Like that's what it is. So yeah, it's that kind of level of repetition. Anyway, everybody ask questions, feel good, have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, thank you guys. And I love explaining this. So as you can see, I will talk all day about drawing and the brain. I hope everybody has a great day. This will be up on the YouTube channel shortly. Just to let you know, the painting and the pastel classes are taking longer because I'm having them edited to include some color pictures from the WhatsApp thread. So they may take a little bit longer to get up, but they will also eventually be up. Okay, everybody, take care.
Thank you.
Bye, Leah.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.